All right, guys. Hey, back for another football season here. Willie Creeman bringing it back for the 2024-2025 NFL season. I'm going to give you my guys today. These are guys you should be looking for in every single one of your drafts. So, let's go ahead and get started and drop the comments below. Let me know what you think and let me know where you are able to get these guys in yours or if there's other guys that you prefer going forward. Okay, first one we've got is Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals. Now, listen, he's fully back from injury. He's finally healthy, and he's the ideal quarterback for the rushing role. That gives you that passing production and yardage on the ground, as well as touchdowns included in that. Now, they added Marvin Harrison Jr., which is just the ultimate weapon for him in this offense. It's going to be great. And don't forget, he's got his boy Trey McBride from last year that he definitely developed rapport with throughout the season. Another guy, they signed Zay Jones to go along with Michael Wilson. Those are three very big, well, if you include Trey McBride, that's four very big bodied guys that he's got in this offense. Not to mention, he's got James Conner out of the backfield as well, who's just tough as nails. So, definitely going to have some great playmakers around him so that he'll be able to get the ball in their hands, be able to make some plays, everything like that. In the last 3 years, he's been a top 12 quarterback 61% of the time. And that's a big deal because that ranks fifth over that time. So just think back the last 3 years, he's notoriously been hurt. Everyone remembers that about him, but they don't remember the excellent upside that he does really have. And when you have a quarterback like this, like I mentioned, that not only throws the ball well, but also runs the ball, this offense goes through him. And now he's got a playmaker there, not like Marquise Brown. No, Hollywood Brown was not that guy. Marvin Harrison Jr. is that dude, and he's going to show it this year with Kyler Murray. He's also the ninth quarterback going off the board right now, which I think is just that's malfeasance by a lot of a lot of people out there. It's the seventh round, which is just utterly ridiculous. But he's a solid floor play. You know what you're going to get every single week with him, and I would shoot for anywhere from 18 to 22 points. I think that's a fair assessment of what he's going to give you week in and week out. But he's got epic upside too. So he's going to give you those spike weeks where he gets into the 30s, possibly into the 40s, depending on how well he does rushing the ball on the ground. Now, I know they're going to hold him back a little bit because they still want to make sure that he's still fully healed, all of that. But listen, Kyler is as Kyler does. He's going to run the ball when the pocket breaks down. He's also got great playmakers now to be able to get the ball to when it does break down. So you're going to have the best of both worlds with that. Right now, he's currently going behind CJ Stroud and Joe Burrow, which I just think there's so much of a gap between them in terms of what they can do. Yeah, Joe Burrow can throw a lot of touchdowns. CJ Stroud showed that last year too, but neither of them has the rushing upside that Kyler Murray does. And honestly, last year, for those that did watch him when he came back, yes, the Cardinals weren't a great football team. That's why they were drafting at the top of the first round. But he played his best football of his career over the last 8 games last year. This is a guy that I'm going to be looking for in every single league that I draft, and you should too. The next guy up that we've got is Travis Etienne from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, listen, his yards per carry were down last year. I totally get that. But the offensive line he was running behind was absolute dog shit. If the number that I want you to drag out of that is the 2.9 yards per carry after contact. That's a very, very big deal in the National Football League. Also, think about this. He also paced all running backs in broken tackles with 64. So this guy knows how to be able to create separation, be able to get to the outside and make those big plays. We should expect to see a lot more of them this year. Also, this offense runs through him, not only on the ground, but also through the air. He's a running back that has shown that he can be effective out of the backfield catching the ball. He receives almost 20 touches a game, which you can count on one hand the amount of running backs in this league that get that kind of production week in and week out. Devin Achane, great running back out of Miami. He's not getting 20 touches a game. Travis Etienne is, and he's going to do a lot with it. There's also no worries about Tank Bigsby. I know that was a big deal last year, but the guy still can't figure out how to be able to hold on to the ball with his second year in the NFL. Listen, I hope things turn around for him personally, but this is fantasy. Stay on the bench, ride Travis Etienne, and love it, guys. The Jaguars, listen, they had a rough season last year. I think it was a little bit of a hangover from that Chargers victory that they had in the playoffs. Remember when they came back? It was real heroic and everything. Well, last year they played Kansas City tight, and then after that, they just sucked the rest of the year. So they've got to be able to get things figured out. I'm going to look for Press Taylor to be able to draw him up early and often in this game plan. And he knows that that's where his bread is buttered with ETN. He knows that he's a solid running back. Yeah, he had the injury the first year, but other than that, he's been very healthy. He gets nicks, knacks, bruises, all of that stuff. But this guy has been very productive, has found a way to stay healthy, and has been a good running back in the NFL. And he's going to be another one this year for you. Also, like, you're spending a late second round, maybe third round pick on this guy. It's not like you're giving up first round talent for him. You can pair him with a guy like Christian McCaffrey on the way back, or maybe you selected Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill in the first round, and you're grabbing ETN on the way back. That's a great combo to have, the two of them right there. And I just think with that price, that ADP, I think he's going to return big time for you on that. All right, the next guy we've got, Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Detroit Lions. Now, this guy was my favorite last year. He won me one of my leagues just because of how great he is. He almost won me a guillotine league as well, but just his stats over the last 2 seasons have absolutely been insane. They're the third most yards of any receiver in NFL history. This guy is the epitome of consistency. He's got Jared Goff as his best friend on this offense, and he really knows how to make do with what he gets. He's averaged over 7 receptions a game over the last 38 regular season games. That's absolutely insane. Like, the dude is an absolute workhorse, and he plays effectively through pain. He's super, super tough. Last year, any of you that watched receiver definitely heard the story about him tearing his oblique off the bone in week 3, and he still played the rest of the year at a Pro Bowl level, right? Like, yeah, he got snubbed, but he still played at a Pro Bowl level and was an absolute beast. Ben Johnson is back. Like I mentioned, Jared Goff loves this guy, and he got paid. So what's not to like about him this year? What makes you think he's going to go the next direction? This is a guy that carries around a list of every receiver that was drafted ahead of him in the NFL draft. He is on a mission, and he will be on that until he hangs up his cleats at the end of his career. You could pair him with a Garrett Wilson or a Drake London, depending on where these guys are going in round 2. But yes, he's a first round pick all the way. I would even take him up at 5 or 6 and not even think twice about it. And you are not crazy for thinking the same thing. This guy is super consistent. He's very productive, and he gives you the spike weeks. You are looking at a floor every single week of at least 18 points. There's very few guys in the NFL, even at any position, that can give you 18 every week, week in and week out. All right, the next guy that we're going to talk about, oh, we just mentioned him, right? Garrett Wilson of the New York Jets. Now, in case you can't get an Amon-Ra, you are definitely okay drafting Wilson in the first round. That's not a crazy thing to do. Really, the only issue with this, and it was the same thing last year, it hinges on Aaron Rodgers staying healthy. Now, last year, we didn't even get to a sneak peek of that. All we saw was training camp before Rodgers came out 3 plays into the season and gets hurt. I don't think that's a real fair assessment to say, oh, they're going to work or they're not. But I'm totally in on Garrett Wilson, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, having Mike Williams opposite of him, a healthy Mike Williams, is going to be a difference maker for him because he's going to be able to draw coverage off of him. In addition to that, you could also see him put up Davante Adams style numbers with Rodgers. If you don't believe me, look at his stats last year. He had 95 catches with absolute trash cans at the quarterback position throwing him the ball. You should definitely see the touchdowns improve from 2 or 3. You could definitely ink him in for double-digit touchdowns. Again, hinging on everyone staying healthy. I'd take him at the end of the first round, and I wouldn't even think twice about it. You shouldn't either. The next guy we've got up is Chris Godwin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this is a perennial favorite of mine throughout the years. I loved him when he was drafted out of Penn State. I loved it even more when Tom Brady became his quarterback. And you really got to see what type of player he was operating out of the slot. All of a sudden, they move him out of the slot. He's not having as much success. People are saying he's lost a step. I'm telling you, this guy's one of the best receivers in the NFL. He just needs to be in the right position to be able to catch the ball. And in the slot is where he's the most effective. Not to mention, he has great rapport with Baker Mayfield. He is a sure bet for 1,000 yards every season. He's done it 4 out of his first 5 years. There's no reason to believe that he's not going to do it again. Playing in the spot where he's the most effective and is able to make the most plays. His route tree just opens up immensely playing from the slot, where when he's out on the side or on the wing, he's not able to do that as much. We're going to finally see a year. Now, let me knock on wood, because I don't want to be the one to say it, but I have to. We're finally going to see the year that Mike Evans has a little bit of decline. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be off a cliff, because every year I've said Evans is going to do that, and it does not happen. But this year is going to be the year that Godwin surpasses him in terms of production, and you will see it. The other piece of that is the offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen. Now, listen, he's going to feed him targets in this system. It's going to be very easy for him to be able to catch the ball and get yards after the catch. Right now, you can get him in the 6th round, and I really feel he's going to surpass that value and pay it back tenfold for you. I'm comfortable taking him in the 5th as my 3rd receiver or possibly my 4th, and I would not even think twice about it. Next up is tight end Dalton Kincaid of the Buffalo Bills. Now, you may be sitting there saying, hey, Willie, last year you picked Dalton Kincaid as well, and you're absolutely right. So, let me just start by saying that I think too many people are too high on him right now. I'm very high on him, but it needs to be at the appropriate spot. And right now, some people jumping on him at the end of the 2nd, early 3rd, I think you're crazy. Do I think he's going to return value? Yes, but I think you're surpassing a lot of the great skill position players and spending that on a onesie pick. I don't think you need to do it at the end of the 2nd or early 3rd. You can wait. I just think there's plenty of wide receivers in that range that are very good. You don't want to miss out on some of them because you're going to draft a onesie position. Just is not smart fantasy football drafting. He's one of the lone remaining pass catchers in this offense from last year. Josh Allen and him, they developed great rapport over the season, and you can see that in his game logs. The Bills are going to be utilizing him a lot in 3 wide receiver sets as well as 2 tight end sets, so it's going to ensure that he's going to be on the field almost all the time. He has great hands, he's a great route runner, and he's earned Josh Allen's trust, and that's a big, big thing for this year, as he's one of the very few people that received a lot of targets last year that's coming back. You'll see I highlighted this section here. And that's because last year, this is exactly what I wrote about him, that he was going to make people regret not taking him by October 1st. Now, I missed it by 2 weeks, but if you look at the stats over the last 11 games that he had, he got at least 6 targets 9 times. That's crazy. That is crazy for a rookie. That is why I'm sold on him this year. Again, in the 4th round, his touchdowns are going to increase, especially with Josh Allen throwing him the ball. And you right now can get him consistently in the 4th and 5th round without having to reach. He's one of the few guys that I feel has a realistic chance to finish as the #1 tight end overall. All right, guys, that wraps it up for my guys for this year for the 2024 to 2025 NFL season. If you have any questions, definitely drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the picks. If you like the content, make sure you drop a follow, like the video, hit that subscribe button, and you can follow me on X. You could follow me on Twitch. I'm on every single week, 1 hour before the 1 p.m. kickoff, giving you fantasy football coverage to get you ready for your week. I wish you guys the best of luck this year, and definitely go out there and get those guys. Thank you.